Hey, welcome to Bookrata. My name is Marcus Williams. And look, we've got states across the country that are trying to pass laws to get sexually explicit books out of schools. Utah is doing it as well. In fact, they just passed a bill last year called House Bill 29. So I want to talk a little bit about how the challenges of those bills and how Bookrata can help. So in HB 29, it talks about taking objective sensitive material out of school libraries. And then there are legal definitions to what that means. It's basically sexually pornographic, um, explicit content in books, right? One of in the definitions, one of the phrases that is used is contemporary community standards. Well, what does that mean? Contemporary means now. Community is the community we're in. Standards are what's acceptable in that community right then. But the problem with that is the contemporary community standards in, say, Salt Lake are going to be very different than, say, Vernal or Price or St. George or Provo or Delta. So, how does that work? And the law also says that if three districts across the state look at a book and determine that it has objective sensitive material in it, then they send that to the state, and the state will then outlaw that book from school libraries across the state. So, rural counties or districts, if you get three very conservative rural districts who decide a book has objective sensitive material, then the districts that maybe have different belief systems or different values are forced to take that book out as well. So you've got small districts are able to dictate what big districts do. Maybe that's a problem, maybe it's not, but it's just the reality. And so the head of this effort at the Utah State Board of Education has said the concern now is, how do we implement this law? How do we follow the law? And how do we revise our policy to be in compliance with the law? Because it essentially put the burden on districts, which then pushes the burden down to school administrators and librarians and teachers. And this type of law has an impact on employees. So first of all, there's got to be a person when complaints come in, whatever the district policies are, if it takes so many complaints from parents or what it is, there has to be a person that then reviews those complaints and reviews the material to see if there's objective sensitive material. So that means that a librarian or a teacher or administrator, whoever is assigned that duty, now has to read pornographic material as part of their job. And what if they don't want to? What if they object to that and don't want that in their brain? And I know exactly what that's like, because in law enforcement, I did investigations on child exploitation for years, and I had to look at videos, images, materials, text, all that was very not only objective, um, like bad, but illegal to even possess. And I had to look at that as part of my job, and I made that decision, and I was made that sacrifice to protect the kids in the community that I was serving. But teachers didn't necessarily sign up for that. A school librarian didn't sign up for that. Now they're being forced to do that. It's also extra work on top of their other duties. It's not like we allocated money to hire people with this specific job. Suddenly it gets dumped on someone who's already very busy. And like I said, their decision impacts schools statewide. And so they are facing the reality that they might have angry parents, activists, um, other district librarians that are mad at them for the decision that they made, which they believe is in compliance with the law, but others may interpret differently. So now they have this personal duty or responsibility that falls on their shoulders. So Bookrata solves all that. It's a tech-based solution where the AI does the reading for you, so humans don't have to be impacted or subjected to that material. It provides consistent results across all books because the algorithm isn't biased, and it looks at books and rates them according to the instructions. But it also allows deeper filtering for students and parents because the law only covers sexual material, sexually explicit material. But what if a parent doesn't want their student reading material with a lot of language, or with a lot of gratuitous violence, or with um, heavy topics concerning mental health or religion. So Bookrata actually allows at various levels, from student to parent to teacher to librarian to district to state, to filter or look at books in 6 different categories. So here's an example of a book that was just taken out of school libraries this week. My wife is a teacher, and she got the notice this week that this book has to be taken out immediately. So it was a very controversial book when it first came out anyway, but it went through the process, it got to the state, and the state has removed it. So this is what Bookrata would look like for that book. First of all, the overall tier is a 5, which means the average of the top 2 rated categories in the Bookrata system is the answers. It means there's 2 categories that have the highest rating, or a 5. So you can actually look down and see why it was rated by category, and you see the little arrows there. If you just want to see the rating and you don't want to see the explanation because you don't want to be subjected to that, you don't have to. You have to proactively hit the arrow to read the reasoning why. So in this book, language is a tier 5. Frequent use of strong profanity. Sex is a tier 5. Graphic depictions of sexual violence, rape, assault, and other things. So we've got first 2 tiers are a 5. Wellness is a 4 because the whole book is about suicide. It has excessive alcohol use and drug references. So this is a category that parents care about. Violence is also a 4. It talks about suicide, fights, death, and then you put all those together, come up with the overall rating, and see right there at a glance, you could say, ooh, this probably meets that objective standard. So if we need to dive in a little deeper, we can, but just based on this, we already know that this is a book that probably should be taken out of schools according to the law. So the criteria are consistent across the board for every book, from 1, which is low or universal, to 2, little mild, and it goes up from there. 3 is some of that material, or the material is moderate. 4 is more of that material and explicit, and 5 then is the most. It's explicit, it's gratuitous, it's throughout the book. So here's a little bit about how that advanced filtering works. You can pick the overall filter you want, and as you make these choices, the available books that you can see changes. So you can set language, say, at a 4, and sex at a 3, and wellness at a 4, and the LGBTQ plus at a 3, and religion at a 4, and it filters all of the books in the library. So now it's only showing you books that match the criteria you wanted, books that match your values, either as a student, parent, librarian, teacher, doesn't matter. So Bookrata solves the problem of HB 29 in the sexual material category, but also gives you much more information and filtering capabilities. And when you start looking at those filters, we're talking millions and millions. And once you add in the tag search capabilities, trillions of search permutations to find the exact books that you want to read that match your values. So we're really excited about this project and the ability for parents and teachers and schools to protect kids, but also make informed choices. And we are excited to talk to you, to come together to come up with a custom solution. How can we tweak it? How can we make it work specifically for your district or for your state? And today I just talked about Utah, but I know Texas and other states are dealing with the same types of issues. Bookrata can be customized to match whatever your state law says and whatever would work best in your state or your education system. So give us a call, contact us if you want more information. If you're interested, check Bookrata out. You can make a free account and just look at some of the sample ratings to get a better idea of what it looks like and what it can do. And we're excited to work with you. So thank you.